Hello, kids. We have a special guest. Oh my gosh, do we have a special guest? Nizan Mosery, or the real estate Rastafari. I'm all excited about that name, that moniker, and the interview and hang out with you today.
Awesome, man. What's happening, Kenneth? Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Oh man, let's get right to it. Instead of getting into your background, because that's really cool right off the bat, give us one tip. Give us one real estate tip that you think will add value to the real estate investors who are out there who are watching and listening to this vast cast, as we call
Okay, so a real estate tip
them.
before buying any type of property, doesn't matter what it is, single family, self-storage, piece of land, it doesn't matter what type of real estate you're buying, you need to know your exit strategy first.
Nice work. There you go. That's very good. That's totally right. You got to look in reverse, don't you?
Absolutely. You got to start with the end in mind, right?
Yeah.
Who am I going to sell it to? How am I going to sell it? Is my buying pool big or small? Will institutional investors be interested in this, or just the small mom and pop guys or the new syndicators? So you need to know how you're going to exit it, because it's easy to buy a property. I can go to you, Ken, or hey, I want to buy your property. Here's money. Thank you. Give me the deed, and that's it. But that's not what we're all about. We're all about the exit strategy, knowing how to dispose of the asset when the time is right.
Look at you. Yep, I like it. That shows you how good this next half an hour is going to be right off the bat, because you drop some knowledge that's exactly in line with my philosophy, and I think with a lot of investors' philosophy who actually make dough in real estate. So since you've already added value, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and who you are and why you're hanging out with us here today?
Sure, awesome, and I'd love to. So I'm first generation American. I'm born and raised in New York City. My family came from Israel. My mother's a Holocaust survivor. My father
Ooh.
never really graduated, the sixth grade, seventh grade. He was living in Israel at the time. So they were raised through hardship, and then they came to this country looking to build a better life for their children. I have three older brothers. I'm the youngest of four boys. And throughout my time growing up, my father and my mother would always instill in us the idea that anybody that owns a piece of land free and clear, it doesn't matter how big or how small, free and clear, you're the richest person on the planet, because no one can ever take that away from you. It's yours, and you can do with it what you want. You can make it generate income for you forever. So that was kind of what was going on. And when I was 18, I finished high school. I went to Israel for a year. I did a stint in the Israeli army. I did some basic training over there, then came back, went to Pace University in New York City, which was really just, a 4-year vacation, partying in New York and enjoying myself. I never graduated, because I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do with my life. And here I am in Pace University. I've got my accounting teacher, my accounting professor, yelling and cursing at me in Italian because I had no idea what he was talking about. So I really didn't understand what am I doing here, right? What is all this about? I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. And then at the age of 25, my father passed away. And that threw me
Oh,
for a
sorry to hear
big loop.
that.
Thank you. That threw me for a big loop, because, since the sixth grade, he had been working for his family. In the beginning, it was for his brothers and sisters and his parents, and then for his children and his family and so forth that he built. And growing up in New York City, the mindset at that time, especially with my family, was it's all about money. The world revolves around money. If money's out the door, love is right behind it. Everything is behind it. It's all about money. And that was the mentality that I grew up in. When he died, it kind of threw me for a downward spiral. I was like, well, life can't just be about making money all day, every day. Look at my father, 65 years old, young guy, passed away, right? What's going, so I started drinking heavily, partying, because what was life all about? Nothing. Just, if it's all about money, screw it. Let's just, go out there and do whatever the hell we want. And then at the age of 27, I decided to move back to Israel. I sat on the beach in Tel Aviv for about a year, watched the sun go up and down, contemplated my belly button, had no real goals or anything like that. And then a friend of mine, in Israel, when people finish the army at the age of 21, they tend to either go South America or to Southeast Asia, or travel the world for about a year to kind of just let their hair down and get rid of all that stuff and figure out what they want to do. And then they come back and they go into university and whatnot. So when I was there, one of my good friends, he told me he's taking 2 months off of work and he's going to India for 2 months because he had been to India before. I said, you know what, dude, I'm coming with you. Sitting at the beach in Tel Aviv or sitting on a beach in Goa. Same, but different, right? I love Indian food, so why not? So I went with him for 2 months. We traveled all around India, and then he left. And I said, you know what? I got nothing to do in Israel. I got no responsibilities. I got no income. I have no. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have bills. I don't have family. I have nothing. So why am I going back to Israel? I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. So I just kind of threw my hands up and I said, I'm going to let life take me wherever it takes me. And I continued traveling for about 7 years all around the world. And then I settled back in Israel. I opened up the first raw vegan restaurant in Israel. During my travels in Portugal, I met who is my wife now. And before this, I showed you pictures of us, hippie lifestyle and traveling the world together with our little dog and whatnot. Me and my dreadlocks and my rastas. And still, not knowing what direction I wanted to go in life. I'd been in real estate before, did some things. I owned a restoration and renovation company in New York City with my brothers. My father bought some real estate. My brothers took it over. My brothers and we took it over, renovated it, built it out, made it really, really nice. So real estate was always in the back of my mind. I bought some properties in Israel. I bought some properties in South America because I had a friend who lived in Santiago, Chile. So we bought some real estate together. But that was it. I had no real purpose in life. And then what? Guess what? I had 2 kids. That will give you a why. That will motivate you. That will can I say this? Will pick your ass up and drive you like no other driver in the world, right? Because my wife and I, we can sleep on a park bench. It's not a problem. I've done it before on a beach in a sleeping bag. But when you've got kids, you gotta give them stability. You gotta give them security. You gotta give them peace of mind, safety. You gotta give them roots. So, and that was in 2008, we decided to come to Florida, to the States. We were on our way to South America. We stopped in Florida on the way to Chile. Good friend of mine from New York moved down here about 25 years ago. So we went touring and looking and all that kind of stuff. My wife is Eastern European, born in Poland, raised in Germany, very cold countries, not very tropical. And when we came back from South America, we stopped back in Florida on the way to Israel, and we landed in Israel. We both agreed that, you know what, maybe we go and hang out in the States for a little bit, right? Continue on our merry hippie way. Sold our house in Israel, made some nice change on that, came to Boca Raton, Florida. Now, mind you, 2 hippies. I had 4 feet of rastas and dreadlocks behind me. My wife and I, 2 big hippies, were coming into East Boca, buying houses and, all around, and people looking at us going, what's going on?
What's up with these people?
These people?
Yeah.
What, are these the new drug dealers in town? What's going on? Right? So, and mind you, I'd been out of the country at this point for about 15 years. So my network, everybody that I knew business-wise, all that kind of stuff just disappeared. So here we are in Boca Raton trying to figure out what to do. Our goal was to live here for a year, fix up the house, sell it, and continue on our merry hippie way. Next thing we know, our daughters are in school, in Montessori school, and I'm looking around going, all right, what am I doing? I got a mortgage now. I got kids in school. I got car payments. What? WTF, right? Like, shit, what do I do? So I started looking and, fixing and flipping houses was the lowest hanging fruit. So I started flipping houses here and there.
Wait, and what year was this, by the way?
Hold one. This was in 2009.
Okay.
Started flipping houses, right? Because it was the lowest hanging fruit, buying houses for $16,000, selling them for $50,000, buying a house for $100,000, putting money into it, selling it for $250,000 and so forth. So I built up my network that way. And I had to learn very, very quickly about the market here in South Florida, about the Boca market, about the, this area. I didn't have anybody to teach me, right? My brothers are all 15, 16 years older than me. They're grandkids. They're done, right? So I had nobody to look towards to mentor me, to educate me, to show me right, wrong, here, there, whatnot. So I was driving around daily, right? Driving for dollars, looking at deals, figuring out the market, doing all that. Started doing that, was very, very successful in that. And I saw the end coming for the fix and flips and all of that, right? All the foreclosures were drying up. Now, the bag check person at Publix and the hairdresser and the nail salon person. They're all not getting into real estate because, oh, hey, why not flip a house?
Yeah, it's easy to get
And
loans, etc. Yeah.
I remember the house that kind of threw me out of it. It was a burnt house. It was a house that was 50% was burnt. I went to put an offer on it, and people were just throwing bids and bids and bids, increasing the purchase price. And I said, you know what, I'm out. Then I had to step back and kind of take a look and see, okay, where do I want to go? I don't want to fix and flip my entire life. It's a lot of work. It's stressful on me. So then I started researching about multifamily and rentals because I wanted to get that passive income because I'm very, very lazy. I don't like to work. So how can I do something once and have it pay me over and over and over again? So I bought a duplex in the south side of Chicago. Don't ever do that. I bought a.
And wait a minute, and you were living you were living in Florida and buying a place in Chicago. Let me guess, you got that place in Chicago. You got that place in Chicago for pennies on the dollar, right?
Oh, we bought it for like $50,000.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Yep.
It was nothing.
Yep.
It was nothing, right?
Yep.
And then I bought a foreclosed fourplex in Riviera Beach in West Palm, but on the wrong side of the train tracks, right? I had drug dealers, I had a prostitute, I had her pimp, I had other people. So that was crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that I bought that for a steal as well, and whenever they paid rent, it cash flowed beautifully. Yeah. My mortgage was very low, so I wasn't too worried. And then I sold out of that, and I continued slowly. And then I flipped 27 units in Leesburg, Florida, which is an hour north of Orlando. I never heard of Leesburg as well. And that's how I started getting into the multifamily world. And slowly, starting from the small to the bigger, larger. And today, we just closed December 28th of 2023 with my team. We closed on a $21.7 million Class A, 1-year-old, brand new construction, where today it's a student housing project. So, in student housing, you pre-lease now for next year, right? Because when students come in, they just move into their units, they know where they're living and so forth. We are now pre-leasing at an average of $430 above the rentals that we took over. So it's been a crazy ride. It's been an awesome ride. I'm jacked, and I'm excited to see what the future is. And now, with my experience in raising millions and millions of dollars and owning over $200 million worth of assets and transacting in different arenas of multifamily and student housing, I now am able to go out and mentor people. If they have bad credit, no money, whatever, no track record, I can get them into their first deal within 90 days with the system that I've put together, showing them exactly what I did and how they can do it as well, even if you don't have a college degree.
Hold on. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. You have a lot of stuff going on. So, wow. So most of our people who are listening to this, watching it, etc., they're pretty well heeled. They've been in the industry for a while. But it sounds, but we might have some people who are wanting to break into it. And it sounds like that's one of the things that you do. So let's go at the pedestrian level, meaning the brand new investor. So tell me a little bit more about that coaching program. By the way, your background's unbelievable. It is great. I know you're a good guy. I'm way excited about this chat. So tell me a little bit more about that, it sounds like a coaching program.
Right. It's a coaching and mentoring program, right? So what I do is I take people by the hand, and I love these other real estate gurus out there that are teaching, that have, these huge networks and whatnot. They're fantastic. With my coaching program, you get me. There's nobody else, right? I take you from A to Z. You're with me until you get into your first deal. That could be 90 days. That could be 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, could be 5 years. You're with me the entire way. And I show you from A to Z how to get into the business, how to network properly. Because when I started in this business, my mentor told me, go to 2 networking events a week and collect business cards. Okay, you know what? I did that. Not only did I do that, but check this out. I sent my wife to another event, and I sent her sister to another event. So we were doing 6 networking events a week, not 2, because I had 2 other people working. And I have boxes and boxes of business cards that amounted to 0 because I wasn't told how to how to set my intentions for my networking, who I need to go out and look for, where should I go out, creating the avatar and whatnot. So I learned from the school of hard knocks, right? I cut my teeth on a lot of mistakes and a lot of errors. So my coaching program, basically, I take you from the beginning, hand in hand. We walk all the way. You get me. You don't get some dude who was paid $20 an hour to read off of a script and ask you questions, or some underwriter who worked for a property management company who's never done a deal before. You get me. And when you get me, what does that mean? You get all of my knowledge, my expertise, all of my documentation that I've created, all of my presentations, all of my PowerPoints, all of my letters of intent, videos that I've done with my underwriters on how to underwrite correctly, how to network correctly. You get all of that. I have a video library of A to Z, how to find the right market. What does that look like? How to talk to brokers, the script that I wrote, that I use to talk to brokers, you have. So it's really very robust in that sense. And I give you homework. I tell you to do things, right? I hold you accountable. I hold your feet to the fire. We create goals, but more importantly than goals, we create action steps that you take daily that move you directly to your goal. And this coaching program is for the fix and flipper who wants to level up. It's for someone who's never been in real estate and wants to get into it. It's for someone who wants to do the house hack, buy a duplex, live in one, rent out the other. Someone, right? Anything that has to do with multifamily, I can help you find and get it. And if you don't have any money or credit or whatnot, guess what? I show you how to network so that you can raise all that capital from outside sources. I show you how to network with people, how to build a team. There's a great book. It's by Michael Michalowicz. It's called Clockwork. And I recommend everybody read that book. It's an awesome, and I'm not an affiliate of his. I don't get royalties or anything. It's just this book teaches us how to build a business that literally revolves around our lifestyle, so that when time we can remove ourselves from that business, from that company, and it's still pumping away. So now we can step back and do what it is we're really passionate about, because real estate is wonderful, right? But if you don't know how to build that team and that company, you're just transitioning from one job to another job. And that's not the goal.
I think you're right. I mean,
the goal is to make money.
It's the system of...
The goal is to make passive income so that we can go out and change the world and make the world a better place.
I think you're right. It's the system. I mean, you've said a couple of gems. I mean, number one, I think you're right. You got to look backwards and then look forward. I mean, look at your exit, number one. Number two, I think you're right. You have to build a system, and it sounds like you've done that. Not only at first, right now, we've talked about kind of the newer investor, I guess, if you will, as far as real estate goes. I think that makes perfect sense. So now why don't we jump ahead? So what about the experienced investor who's got, I don't know, whatever, $10 million net worth? What solutions do you have for someone like that?
We'll take that person, and together, you see, because it's great in multifamily, in student housing, when you're out there, when you want to buy a $21 million asset, you can't do it by yourself. There's no way in hell you can do it by yourself. You need a team around you, right? And one of my partners, she had a great saying. She goes, to be successful in, let's call it commercial real estate, right? Multifamily, student housing, self-storage, whatever it is. To be successful, you have to run 12 marathons at the same time, and you got to cross the finish line on all 12 marathons at the same time to be successful. So doing it by yourself, can't do it. Now, when someone has a net worth of 10 million and they want to grow their net worth, how are they going to do that? Do they have a team behind them? Can we tweak that team to help you level up, right? If your net worth is 10 million, and let's say my net worth is 10 million, and we partner together and we have the same visions, the same goals, the same values, and we work the same, guess what? We now have combined a net worth of $20 million. Now we can go out and buy bigger deals together, right? So it's all about partnering, talking to people, building those relationships, and seeing the synergies between us and how we can grow. So with those savvy investors, we talk about, let's tweak your business. Let's tweak your company. Where can we make those little tweaks? Because it's like Formula One racing, right? You see these guys driving around in $1 million cars and they're screaming around. And what happens? They come into the pit stop and it's just a couple of minor tweaks. Change the tires, maybe rev the engine a little bit differently, maybe clean the windshield on this side for better aerodynamics or whatever it is, and then go. The machine is already humming. All we need to do now is tweak it to take you to the next level. And that's what we do with the savvy investors.
I understand. So you really do have the kind of beginning investor all the way to the senior level investor who's looking at putting in real dough to maybe one of your deals. Sounds like. So it sounds like you do Reg D deals. I think most of the people actually out there know what a Reg D deal is, but why don't you go into a little bit more detail about, that package that you put together for kind of the bigger investors investing in your deal?
Sure. Yeah. So, the PPM, the private placement memorandum, right? So the way we structure it is we create an SPE, a single purpose entity. And an SPE is an LLC usually. And that LLC is created primarily to take ownership of the property. And when our investors invest with us, they're actually buying shares of the company, not necessarily of the actual property. So when you're buying shares into a company, now we've got the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, overlooking us. So we create these documents, PPM and subscription booklets and all that kind of stuff, and operating agreements. But with that is now you have these different regulations that we have to abide by, right? Certain ways of doing things. So the 506B is where you can have a combination of sophisticated investors with accredited investors. A sophisticated investor is someone who has their own business, let's say, or maybe a couple of rental properties, or invested in the stock market before. They're sophisticated. They don't reach the financial requirements set by the SEC to qualify them as accredited, right? An accredited investor is someone who makes, I think it's $200,000 individually, $300,000 with their spouse, has over $1 million or more net worth, excluding their primary residence. So there's those financial criteria that make you accredited. Now, the thing with the 506B is that you have to have a pre-existing relationship with these people. So what does that mean? If I put a property under contract today, or let's say I'm just setting out a letter of intent, and Kenner, and I just met you today, and you're either a sophisticated or accredited investor, and I'm doing a 506B, I can present the offering to you, but you cannot invest because we don't have a pre-existing relationship prior to this asset. Right? So it's great when you're raising $1 million or $2 million and you're going to your network, family and friends, and you're raising capital from them, 50K here, 50K here, right? So you're talking to them and you have pre-existing relationships. That's great. Now, the other way is the 506C, the Reg D 506C, which is accredited investors only. Right? And mind you, with the 506B, you can only have up to 35 sophisticated investors. So it's very limiting what you can do. The 506C, you can have unlimited amounts of accredited investors, and you can literally take your offering and put it on a billboard on the highway and advertise it. However, you can only accept accredited investors. And the reason why we do this is when, for example, we were raising capital for a $21.5 million property, and let's say you're raising $8 million. You don't want to go to your friends and family and ask for $50,000 for $8 million raise. That's bonkers, right? So what we do is we do the 506C, accredited investors, where now we can go out and we can talk to broker dealers. We can talk to institutional equity groups where they'll come in and fund anywhere between 50 to 80, 90% of the equity. So let's say they come in with, 70% of $8 million. What is that? That's 5 million. I'm just rounding numbers, 5-6 million. And then we would come in with the last 2 million from our network of accredited investors. So those are the two basic, what do we call them?
Formats and structures of your deals.
Yeah, format that we use when we're raising capital. And now there's a ton others, right? There's 506A and then the Fs and all different. So with us, the syndication model, we do the 506Bs and the 506Cs, right? Now with the bigger projects, we're doing more on the 506Cs because we want to bring in those institutional equity groups that we just create relationships with now.
Hey, give us a little bit of flavor of some of the deals you look at and what really makes sense. Again, you're looking backwards. You're looking at the end result first, but give us kind of a flavor of some of the deals that you're looking at as far as multifamily or whatever type of deal you want to talk about.
Sure. So, right now, we're transitioning. I'm supposed to have a closing today, selling one of my last C or B class properties, multifamily, and we're transitioning to the A class for a couple of reasons. Now, the reason is because let me ask you this question to all your listeners. if you were going to buy a Mercedes-Benz C-Class 1970 model,
Okay.
or a 2024 Mercedes C-Class for pretty much the same price, which car would you want?
Probably price. Are either one of them undervalued, by the way? Meaning, is the older one undervalued or no?
They could both be undervalued. However, they're both around the same purchase price.
Well, I like the classic, but I'll say the new one. I'll say the new
So
one.
let's say if each one was worth 20, the new one, exactly. Why? Because it's newer. The older one, you're paying the same amount as the new one. You're probably going to have more problems with that, more repairs, more expenses. The new one has warranty on it from the manufacturer. You can drive it. It probably won't break down as quickly as the other one. So there's more value to that. And your resale value when you go to sell in 2-3 years will probably be higher than the older model. And it's the same thing with multifamily right now. We're looking at Class A product because they're trading very, very close to what C-Class properties are trading at cap rate wise. Yeah. I'll give you an example. I sold a Section 8 property in Charlotte about 2 months ago at around a 5 cap. I think maybe even just under a 5 cap. Section 8, 1980s product, okay? The Athens project that we just bought in Athens, Georgia by the University of Georgia, that is a 2023 construction, 1 year old. The people living there are the first people to ever live on that property. It's 100% occupied. We bought that at a 5.5 cap rate. So if you're looking at cap rates, we actually bought the new property at a better value rate than I sold my C-Class properties. Now with the new property, again, we have warranties on the roof, mechanical, engineering, plumbing, all those warranties. Everything's brand new. It's not going to break down as often. Right? The value in 5 years from now, it will still maintain itself because it's a brand new asset in 5 years. So those are the types of things that we're looking at. Now, yes, they have to be undervalued still. There has to be some sort of value add in management inefficiencies and raising rents. Obviously, when you're buying a newer property, there's not much to do to it, right? You're not going to renovate the interiors because it's new. You're not going to paint the outside. It's a fresh coat of paint. Roofs are still good. So where's that value? The value is going in and finding the distressed sellers that need to sell for whatever reason it is, buying it, having a team behind you that has a success track record and going to these sellers and saying, hey, listen, this is my team. This is what we're doing. This is what we've done. We want to buy your asset. Now we buy that asset at a discounted rate. And there's room to push those rents because the previous owner, wasn't able to fulfill their business strategy. So we come in and we take over. We bought in the last, I want to say 18 months, we bought we bought 3 Class A student housing properties. And knock on wood, during our due diligence period, we were pre-leasing next year at higher than our pro forma.
That's how you make your money right there. Yeah. Getting a more than $1 that's in the dollar, basically. Yeah.
That's right. And that's what we look for, right? So there, and another little nugget for your listeners is, if the numbers don't work,
walk away from the deal. If it doesn't work, don't get emotionally tied to it either. Yep.
Exactly. You can't get emotionally tied, right? I tell people, don't get emotionally tied to the property. Get emotional on the numbers. Get attached to the numbers. If the numbers work, go crazy, freak out, be like, dude, it's awesome. We got one. Yes. Tired of kissing all these frogs. We got Prince Charming in front of us. Awesome. But so many people, when they get started in real estate, single family, whatever it is in real estate, and they want to do a deal and they're not having that success quickly, they get frustrated. And then something comes along and they're like, ooh, you know what? Maybe. I had a coaching client send me a deal he found on LoopNet. He goes, what do you think of this? I'm like, first of all, I have no idea. You sent me a link. What am I going to do with this link, right? Analyze it, underwrite it, grab some information. Why is it a good deal? What are you looking to do to the property? What's the value? What are the returns? All of that stuff. But the first thing when I clicked on the link, the first thing I saw was, I don't remember how many units it was, but majority were studio units, very, very small, 250 square feet, something like that, in an area, right? So now what you're looking at is high transition, not in a high income neighborhood, in a fairly lower income neighborhood. So there's going to be high turnover, high repairs and maintenance, high turnover costs, evictions, all that kind of stuff. So right then, that little thing, I said, you know what, for me, it's not a good deal because of that unit mix. So there's certain things that you have to look for to make sure that this is a good deal. But when you're going in there, if the numbers don't work, don't make them work. Don't fudge it. So many of my clients, they'll send me their financial model and I'll look at the seller's current actual numbers. And then I'll look over at their side of what they're projecting, and real estate taxes are reduced. First of all, that's a red flag. Why would you reduce real estate taxes? No reason to do that. They got to go up. Insurance, you reduced it. Why? Insurance, is going to go up. Those are the two things that are going to go up. Marketing, if the marketing budget is very, very high and you're reducing it because rule of thumb says so, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to get into trouble because you don't know. Because to me, if that marketing bill is really high, that tells me something. It tells me that they got to spend a lot of money to get the occupancy that they're at. And if they're not at 99% stabilized with rents busting out the roof and they're spending a ton of money on marketing,
clearly you've done your research. I mean, I think that one of the most important things about investing in a let's say a real estate project are the people who are around that project. And I know that you come through in that regard, and I know you have good people around you, and that makes a huge difference. A lot of the people who are doing real estate deals, who are promoters, aren't thinking about some of the things you're thinking about. It's really important to invest in people first, and obviously you're a good result of that.
Absolutely. And if I may share another little thing, and people are going to probably hate me for this or tell me, oh, Nizan, that's not a good way of thinking. When you're on the GP team, when you're on the general partner side, and you're the GP is the people that run the property day to day, that have the communication lines open with the asset manager, property manager, communicate what's going on to the investors and so forth. If you're on the GP team and you're analyzing a property and you as the GP are not making money, do not do that deal. Even if your investors are making bank on it, do not do that deal. For one simple reason. If you're not making money on this deal, how much time and effort you're going to be putting into it?
And I'm assuming that's some of the stuff, and that's some of the stuff you teach when you're coaching, as an example, et cetera, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like, okay, right? When you see a deal, what's the first thing you look at? Exit strategy, right? Then what do we look for? How much is the GP team going to make, right? Are we just going to make our acquisition fee and then for 5 years make nothing?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That sucks because I got to eat too, right? My kids are skinny. I got to feed them.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah.
Right. So make sure you and your team are making money on this deal, or else don't do it. Don't do it for the sake of doing it, and don't do it for the acquisition fee, because all the work that you're putting into building relationships with your investors, building relationships with brokers and management companies, all that work is going to go right down the toilet because you're not going to work on that property as much as you are the property that's making you money.
Love it. All right. So let's get ready to land this plane. So how does someone get a hold of you? So obviously, again, let's go over it real quickly. You have coaching, or you have basically an investment, basically a Reg D deal, kind of anywhere in between. How does someone get a hold of you? Are there different numbers? Do they email you? What's the deal?
Yeah, you can text me or call me at 561-212-7247. That's my direct line. You can also check me out. So for my coaching, you can go to www.multifamilyinc.com. That's multifamilyinc.com/application. Fill out that application. It's an essay questionnaire. Fill it out. Give me some details. And if you've got the right mindset and you're motivated enough, I'll reach out and we'll see about working together. And if you want to look at our acquisitions team, because my acquisitions team, we have over 100 years combined of real estate experience. Please. I'll give you one example.
Okay, cool.
Two examples. One of my partners, he comes from student housing world, 25 years in the student housing world. He managed part of Blackstone's $13 billion student portfolio for them. He has 25,000 unique beds under his belt. So he knows student housing, and thanks to him, we've been able to get these off.
Because he's got relationships. Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Another one of my partners Yeah, he's got the role. He knows everybody. He knows everybody in the industry, all the top players. Landmark, the number one management construction company in the industry. He worked with them. He worked for them as an asset manager, regional manager. So he knows all the players, and they know him as well because he's been so successful. My other partner, 15-year Navy pilot, Iraq, Afghanistan. Now, people don't realize, right? When you're a pilot, right? It's like playing chess. You've got to think 80 moves ahead, come up with solutions for all those issues, because what happens if? I mean, just their thought process and the connections and their energy, right? Nothing stops them. Dude, I was a pilot in Iraq. Are you kidding me? Nothing's stopping me. What do we need to do? Right? So it's amazing the mindset that you have, and when you're surrounded with these types of people, it only
it's about the people. It really is about the people, because with good people you'll get good numbers.
Yep. So that website, is www.mtn.
How was it again phonetically? What is it? Say it again.
And here's something fun. MTN, Mosery, Taylor, Nova. So, me, two of my partners, investment group, MTN.
Very good, very good. All right, so how about take 3 minutes to give one last tip we haven't talked about that can add value to either a brand new investor all the way to a senior investor, and mainly to the senior investors. Because again, let's assume you're talking to a group that has whatever $10 million net worth as an example.
So when you're looking to build a team of people, look at the personality of the person rather than the skill set, right? For example, we were looking for an investor relations in our company. We want to run investor relations. And we were interviewing people. There were a lot of people that were very qualified on the skill set side. Oh, I've got software and I've got this and I've got that. But when they were talking to us, they were talking very, very cold, very, very hard, very like this and very blah, 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 blah. And we're like, you know what, man? Dude, your skill set's out of the roof. However, not that nurturing.
You got to be able to connect with the people,
When you talk, exactly, right? You want to nurture. So when you're looking to build your team, skill sets can be taught, but find people that their personality fits that position. Another example, right? Let's say you're looking for an underwriter and you found someone who's great in Excel, knows how to do pivot tables, create all this crap on Excel, God knows what, right? Blows my mind what these people do in Excel. However, this person loves to go out from Thursday night to Sunday night. They're out partying, getting drunk, shit-faced, all that kind of stuff. They're showing up Monday, hungover, bloodshot, can't see the screen. Is that really the person that you want underwriting for you? Or do you want the person who's a little bit more subdued, who loves to be in front of a computer, doesn't want to talk to anybody, knows the deal, understands the market, and that's their goal, the quiet hum-hum, right? So it's about the personality when you're setting it up, right? Forget skill sets. Skill set will come later. Focus on the personality when you're building your team. And you'll have
you've had a lot of value in this short time we've been together. I can only imagine what you're like to spend, you being the coach and being the one-on-one coach. I love that idea, by the way, because I do believe that you add value. You got a great personality. I know you have a great team around you. I think you'd be good to work with on an individual level or also with your team. There's no doubt.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, look, I'll tell you, I created my coaching program because I know that there are people out there like myself, not college graduates, don't really know what they want to do in life, have a burning desire, sensation inside that they know that they're meant for greatness, not in the egocentric way, right? But more, how can I help people, right? I can't be stuck in a dead-end job because my life is meant to do more with, right? And those are and that's why I created my mentorship and coaching program to help people that want to break free and live life on their terms rather than by default.
Love it. Love it. Just one last time. How does someone get a hold of you?
Yeah. So 561-212-7247. You can also shoot me an email. Nizan, Nizan, at mtninvestmentgroup.com, or you can go to www.multifamilyinc, that's multifamilyinc.com/application.
Yeah, check that out, guys, and then you could learn about the real estate Rastafari. I love that. Didn't know that about you before. You look like the business, business cut dude. So it's like it's hard to imagine. And now because I saw that picture and those pictures, now I can imagine you with that long hair below your butt cheek. It cracks me up. Anyway,
it was great because I would walk in and you saw with like the ponytail. So as I'm walking dressed in a suit and whatnot, short hair here, and I'm talking to people, brokers, managers, investors, and then I turn around to walk away and they see this thing in the back of my head like, wait a minute, did we just sign a deal with that guy? Are you serious? Okay,
you're a trustworthy guy. Your track record obviously proves you know what's going on. So, dude, it's been I totally appreciate you spending time being here. There's going to be some people who are definitely going to reach out to you, and if they don't, they're ridiculously dumb. How does that sound? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Kenner French with the Vast Voice. We're telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Thank you for watching this and listening to this Vastcast. It's been a pleasure. Good times always hanging out with Nizan. Good times.
Thank you, brother. It's been great.
Dude, nice